Please stay tuned until the end when I can tell you all the household objects that make great weapons. So today I watched No Good Deeds, a 2014 thriller starring Idris Elba and Taraji P. Henson. So what's it about? Idris Elba is an escaped convict, and a complicated one at that because he was on the America's Most Wanted list for being in connection with the brutal murder of like a bunch of women with a complicated ass history. He was considered a person of interest in a bunch of brutal murders to the point that he made America's Most Wanted list, right? And then he got caught because he got into a bar fight while he was on the run and killed a man, and so he was already convicted of that with manslaughter. But supposedly they didn't have enough evidentiary support to try him for the brutal murders that he made America's Most Wanted for. How exactly do you qualify for America's Most Wanted if you don't have enough evidence against you? But I digress. So after 5 years of a 15-year prison sentence for just the manslaughter charge, he hasn't even been tried in the other murders yet. He got turned down for parole, and he got so upset that he killed the guard in the van and the driver, and then he was on the loose. He goes to his ex-fiance's house, finds out that she is now sleeping with someone else because, he's been in prison for 5 years, and he's been in prison for 5 years for murder. She doesn't want him there, and he beats her to death with a lamp. So then he ends up at Taraji's house. Taraji has 2 children under the age of 5, 1 under the age of 1, and a husband who insists on being called Jeffrey. Like, every sentence involving him is stated as Jeffrey. Not Honey Bunches, not Pumpkin, not even you, Jeffrey. But apparently he has to take his dad golfing overnight for his birthday, so she's left with her 2 children at home overnight during like this big ass rainstorm. But don't worry, because her best friend's going to come over and they're going to get drunk after the kids go to bed. So anyway, she's home alone when Idris Elba knocks on the door. Apparently he crashed his car and needs to borrow the phone. And she's like, okay. But then she invites him in. She invites this strange man to come in off of her porch because it's raining when she has 2 small children and she's by herself. She does, however, tell him her husband's going to be back any minute. But then she info dumps a lot on him that she used to be like an assistant DA, that she mainly prosecuted against domestic violence. He just starts getting too comfortable. Like, he's going into rooms, he's rifling through shit, and like she goes into the bedroom to like take off her sweater, and he like walks in, and he's like, I couldn't find the sugar. And she's like, I already offered you sugar. Instead of, please, Mr. Weirdo, get the fuck out of my bedroom. And then her friend shows up, and her friend's getting all real horny and shit. And then Taraji's kids start crying, so she goes upstairs to take care of them. And Idris Elba and the best friend or whatever go out to the garage, and Idris tells her that him and Taraji are having an affair, and that Taraji didn't tell her because they aren't close anymore. And then the best friend is like, you are a fucking liar. She would tell me everything, because that's what best friends do. Now, I do appreciate the sentiment about her calling him out. However, it was not the smartest idea to do at the time. Now, personally, me, I would have politely excused myself to go upstairs and see her. However, he probably also would have hit me with the shovel like he did her. And then Taraji comes back downstairs, and she's trying to figure out where her friend went, and he's like, oh, she left, and Taraji was all like, oh, was she mad? And she tries to call her, and then she finds out the phone lines have been cut. And then the rest of it is him taking her and the kids hostage. I mean, she does try to, like, fight him a couple of times. She stabbed him once. She hit him in the head with a fire extinguisher and then a lamp. But nothing seems to stop this man, so he's like Jason Voorhees. He got him in the car. Cop pulls him over. He killed the cop. But he ends up taking them to his fiance's house. And it come to find out that Taraji's husband, Jeffrey, was sleeping. It was the one sleeping with his fiance. And so now he needs payback. But she killed him. And then divorced Jeffrey. The end. Now, did I like it? I like it like I like a Lifetime movie. But like a movie? No. And I mean, we could talk about all the wrong things she did this whole time, but the big problem this movie has is once everything starts amping up, there's only 20 minutes left in the movie, and that last 20 minutes is when I think they ran out of money and it started looking like Tubi. Like, there's a whole shot of voiceovers that looks like Madam Web. And then we have a weird camera shake that I tried really hard to get. I don't know if it showed up, but I'm going to show you. And then we get to the very end, her post-divorce, when the nanny is taking the kids to the park so that she can go to work. But it turns out the said park they're going to is a big field with a Lowe's jungle gym in the middle. I mean, technically it is a park, but given the neighborhood, I expected like a park. Now, with all that being said, instead of questioning everything she did wrong, we're going to talk about everything she did right. 1, she tried to take his ass out with the fire extinguisher. That was a good idea. Technically, it should have gotten him, but the Spanish Jason Voorhees. Number 2, she hit his ass with the lamp, and then stabbed him, and tried to flag down a cop. I mean, she gets an A for effort. With that being said, here's a list of everything I think you could use in a weapon in the event of a home invasion, and they somehow managed to hide all the knives, and you don't own a gun. And I want you to keep in mind, anything can be a weapon once the adrenaline sets in. And I do mean anything. Number 1 is the knife block. You can choose to yeet it, or you can choose to bludgeon. Even if you do neither, you can hold it up in front of your face so that it's harder for them to hit you, but they can hit the knife block. And number 2 is the kettle, particularly when you get it nice and hot, because 2 people have kettles in this movie and did not swing them. But you can also yeet. Number 3 is going to be a lamp, and you can use a lamp in various ways. You can yeet, and you can bludgeon, but the secret to bludgeoning is you're going to want to hold it by its little tiny neck and use this base as the club. If you can get the light bulb inside broken, stabby, stabby, stabby. And I don't know if this would work, but if they're incapacitated and it's still plugged in, you could take out the light bulb, should it not already be broken, and shove their finger in, and they're going to get shocked the shit out of. However, if they're already incapacitated, there are other things that you could be doing, like running away and or going for it. That one's on you. Now, the end table you can absolutely use as a defense weapon. However, it comes down to one of 2 things. If it's extremely heavy and you don't think you can lift it, then don't try. Also, if you have any kind of arthritis or pre-existing injuries, maybe don't try it. But again, we got adrenaline going. You might feel it later. You can pick it up and you can yeet. You ever see Bam Bam on the Flintstones? You just whoosh. And if a leg on it breaks, now you got a stabby boy. And finally, you have Grandma. You just pocket sand and then hit him with the urn. Overall, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. It was mid. It wasn't anything spectacular, but it does give you the opportunity to talk about self-defense. So 5 out of 10. Okay, bye. I'm a survivor. I'm gonna make it. I'm a survivor. Keep on surviving.